Cawthon, and welcome to the Elevate Talk Show. I am your host.
And I'm Adriana Cawthon, your co-host. And we're the mother-daughter talk show that's here to elevate your family. If you haven't done so already, please take a second to like this video and to subscribe so that you don't miss any of our upcoming episodes.
Yes, and this week, in our Around the Town segment, we are going to be taking you to the Downton Abbey Atlanta Exhibit right here in Sandy Springs, Georgia. We went there a couple of weeks ago. It was nothing short of phenomenal. So you don't want to miss that Around the Town this week. Also, in our perspective segment, one thing that is near and dear to our hearts is how do you eat during the holidays? How do you eat healthy, I guess I should say, during the holidays? It's a difficult thing for a lot of us who have maybe underlying pre-existing conditions, health conditions, or who just want to stay on track with our weight. You have to figure out what you're going to do as an alternative to some of those big high carb meals. So we'll be talking about how do you eat healthy during the holidays. And then finally, in our Meal of the Week segment, we will be doing what?
In our Meal of the Week segment this week, I'm going to be showing you how to make a traditional Kwanzaa banana cake. And it's really delicious. You don't want to miss this.
And speaking of Kwanzaa, we also are going to be sharing a second part of actually what we were doing last week as far as our holiday stories are concerned. We're going to be sharing with you the story of Kwanzaa. So a great show. You don't want to miss anything. Stay with us. We need to take a break, but we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Elevate Talk Show. And this week in our Perspective segment, Adriana and I, we're going to basically discuss something that we think is near and dear to most of you who are listening to the show today. How do you eat healthy during the holidays? It's a big deal, particularly for those of us who have diets that we're trying to stay on track with, underlying conditions that we don't want to aggravate, or just wanting to not gain all that extra weight that can sometimes be gained when you're eating these big holiday meals. So let's talk about that. What are some things that we can do for somebody like myself who is on a low carb diet? Who's trying to lose weight and maintain the weight I've already lost? What are some alternatives to some of the more popular things like macaroni and cheese, like, dressing? What are some good alternatives? I'm asking you because you're sort of our resident chef around here.
Well, as far as things like macaroni and cheese, you can use cauliflower as a substitute.
Yeah.
You can make cauliflower mac and cheese.
Yeah.
You can also do mashed cauliflower instead of mashed potatoes,
Right.
which is really good.
Yeah.
You can also do a lot with zucchini.
Yeah.
You can use it in soups. You can use it you can roast it.
Oh,
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
do all
And
kinds
use it
of
in,
you can even bake with it
Right.
so that you don't have to use as much flour,
Right.
and that cuts down on a lot of carbs and calories too.
Right. One of the things we've done with zucchini is use it as a substitute for pasta, because that's a big deal. And we're talking about the holiday season, but understand we're not just talking about holiday meals. That's part of it, but you got to eat all the other meals
Yeah,
during
and you've
this
got to
season
get
as
through
well.
all the parties too.
Yeah,
It's not just Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner. You've
Right.
got everything in between.
Right, and let's talk about the social aspect of the holidays, about eating at a party. That's a big one to navigate. And there's some tips, there's some things that I know that I've read about and talked to other people about that have really helped me. For instance, before I go to a party, first of all, for me it's not just the carbs, it's also being allergic to nuts. And for whatever reason, the holiday tends to be a time when people use a lot of nuts and things. So I'm always super extra cautious about that. So what I generally do is I eat before I go. so that when I go to a holiday party, I'm not hungry. I might have something to drink there. I might get maybe if there's meatballs being served or something like that, I might put a few of those on my plate. But I'm not tempted to eat all this food, first of all, that I could possibly be allergic to, but also that could shoot my blood sugar levels up. So that's one thing. What's another thing people can do to navigate the holidays?
Well, another thing you could
Social
do to navigate the whole holiday parties thing is to ask the host if you can bring a dish.
Yeah.
Because that guarantees that there'll be something there that you can eat,
That's
and
good.
you avoid the whole awkward situation of going to a party and not being able to eat anything.
Yeah, and it is awkward, because people think, well, what's wrong with her? Or you see everybody else eating, and you're not able to eat. And that might bother some people more than others. For me, it doesn't bother me. As long as I go and I'm already satisfied, I'm good. But I think that bringing a dish is a great way to to say, hey, I want to participate in this, but I just have to make sure that I have something to eat. Are there any other things that we can share that we're missing? I'm thinking, I think also when you're doing a meal, for instance, for Thanksgiving, one of the things that I really leaned heavily into was the veggies, because you don't have to sacrifice flavor. And since I did most of the cooking, I used vegetables that I liked, and I seasoned them the way I like to season them. And so I leaned in heavy. I was able to eat the ham. I was able to eat the turkey. But instead of having the dressing, instead of having the mac and cheese, I leaned heavily in on the cabbage, on the carrots, on the green bean casserole, on the cauliflower. So it's not so much about deprivation, right?
Yeah, it's just about finding healthier alternatives to things,
right.
so that you can have things that you can eat that are still good for you.
And you have to plan. You do have to think ahead, because if you're normally gravitating toward the carbs, that's, you don't want to go into default mode. You don't want to say, oh, well, there's nothing here for me, so I guess I just have to eat this. Or you don't want to just say, well, I can't eat hardly anything and feel deprived. You do have to plan. But I think with a little bit of planning, you can have a great holiday season. And like I said, not just the holiday meals, but you can eat well during this whole holiday season. Don't you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so we wanna know what you think. We would love for you to share with us in the comment section on our YouTube page ways that you have been able to navigate the holiday season as far as eating healthy. What kinds of things do you do to eat healthy? Please share with us in the comment section on our YouTube page. We have to take a little break, but don't go away. We will be right back. Welcome back to the Elevate Talk Show. And now it's time for my favorite segment, the Around the Town segment of the show. And this week we get to take you to the Downton Abbey Exhibit in Sandy Springs, Georgia, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. We are big, huge Downton Abbey fans. In case you don't know what Downton Abbey is a show, a PBS series that has been on TV for, well, it was on initially 10 years ago. They brought it back because of it being so popular, and we got to follow the lives of
the Crawley family, who live in the Downton Abbey estate. They're an aristocratic English family.
Right, that's right. And so we followed their lives, the lives of Lord Grantham, Lady Grantham, Lady Mary, Lady Edith, and of course the Dowager.
Yeah, the Dowager Countess.
Countess, yes. So we followed their lives for over several years, right?
Yeah, over the course of 6 seasons.
Yeah, that's right. And it's just a fantastic series. Well, anyway, their exhibit with the various clothing and wardrobes
and furniture
and all things cultural that went on in the household, including things with the servants who lived downstairs, which would be, who's some of the servants?
Well, there was Anna, there was Mr. Bates, there was the butler, Mr. Carson.
Right. Of course, there was the infamous, who we ended up loving.
Barrow.
And just all of the downstairs people as well as the upstairs people. All of those people, all of the clothing and the stories of them had been brought to Atlanta in an exhibit. And so we got to share, go there and look at all of that. It was fantastic. So please stay tuned. Please turn your attention to our adventures at the Downton Abbey Exhibit here in Atlanta, Georgia. This week, the Elevate Talk Show takes you around the town to Downton Abbey, the exhibition in Atlanta, Georgia. The exhibition, based on the beloved television show, transports you to post-Edwardian England, where the characters in the iconic house come to life. You will be immersed in the fascinating social history, culture, and some of the most memorable moments from the show's 6-season run. Visitors can explore the rooms of Highclere Castle and memorable sets in Downton Abbey, which include a beautiful dining room befitting for a lavish holiday feast. Guests will step back in time to embark on an extraordinary journey through the venerable home of Downton Abbey. From the lavishly designed bedrooms to Mrs. Patmore's hectic, gossip-fueled kitchen, the exhibition gives you a look into the world of the Crawley family and their downstairs staff. Visitors will view the show's official costumes worn by their favorite characters, including Michelle Dockery's Lady Mary and Laura Carmichael's Lady Edith's day wear and wedding gown, as well as outfits from Elizabeth McGovern's Lady Grantham and Dame Maggie Smith Dowager, Countess of Grantham, and so much more. Guests will learn about the women's movement and other historical events that shaped the modern world. At the end of your tour, you will definitely want to visit the gift shop that is full of wonderful items, including the official Downton Abbey cookbook, as well as many lovely accessories that will make your Downton Abbey experience complete. To find out more about this once-in-a-lifetime experience, visit www.downtonexhibition.com for more information. Well, we hope you enjoyed our Downton Abbey exhibition. We've got to take a little break. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Elevate Talk Show. And in this week's episode, we're going to continue the stories that we started last week with the holiday season. We did Hanukkah last week, and we talked about the story of Christmas. This week, we would like to end up with the story of Kwanzaa, which is a holiday that was formulated back in 1966 to help African Americans embrace their heritage here in America, as well as our heritage from Africa, our homeland. And so we want to share with you the story of Kwanzaa. So please take a look.
Dr. Maulana Karenga, a professor and chairman of Black Studies at California State University, Long Beach, created Kwanzaa in 1966. After the Watts riots in Los Angeles, Dr. Karenga searched for ways to bring African Americans together as a community. He founded US, a cultural organization, and started to research African first fruit harvest celebrations. Karenga combined aspects of several different harvest celebrations, such as those of the Ashanti and those of the Zulu, to form the basis of Kwanzaa. The name Kwanzaa is derived from the phrase Matunda ya Kwanzaa, which means first fruits in Swahili. Each family celebrates Kwanzaa in its own way, but celebrations often include songs, dances, African drums, storytelling, poetry reading, and a large traditional meal. On each of the 7 nights, the family gathers and a child lights one of the candles on the kinara, candle holder, then one of the 7 principles is discussed. The principle called the Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles in Swahili, are values of African culture which contribute to building and reinforcing community among African Americans. The principles are as follows: unity, umoja, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race; self-determination, kochijajolia, to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves; collective work and responsibility, ojima, to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and solve them together; cooperative economics, ojama, to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses and to profit from them together; purpose, nia, to make our collective vocation building and developing our own community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness; creativity, koamba, to always do as much as we can in the way that we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited; faith, imani, to believe with all our hearts in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and in the righteousness and victory of our struggle. Each day of Kwanzaa emphasizes a different principle. Kwanzaa also has 7 basic symbols which represent values and concepts reflective of African culture. An African feast called a Karamu is held on December 31st. The symbols are as follows: Mazao, or the crops, fruits, nuts, and vegetables. Mazao symbolizes work, the basis of the holiday. It represents the historical foundation for Kwanzaa, the gathering of people that is patterned after African harvest festivals in which joy, sharing, unity, and thanksgiving are the fruits of collective planning and work. Mkeka, the placemat. The mkeka, made from straw or cloth, expresses history, culture, and tradition. Today, people buy mkeka that are made from kente cloth, African mud cloth, and other textiles from various areas of the African continent. The other symbols, including the mazao, zawadi, and the kinara, are placed directly on the mkeka. Vizbunzi, ear of corn. The stalk of corn represents fertility and symbolizes that through the reproduction of children, the future hopes of the family are brought to life. Each ear symbolizes a child in the family, and thus one ear is placed on the mkeka for each child in the family. Kinara, the candle holder. The kinara is the center of the Kwanzaa setting and represents the original stock from which we came, our ancestry. Kinaras are made from all kinds of materials, and many celebrants choose to create their own from fallen branches, wood, or other natural materials. Mishuma Saba, the 7 candles. Candles are ceremonial objects with 2 primary purposes: to recreate symbolically the sun's power and to provide light. During Kwanzaa, a candle representing one principle is lit each day. Then the other candles are relit to give us more light and vision. The number of candles burning also indicates the principle that is being celebrated. Kikombe cha umoja, the unity cup. The kikombe cha umoja is a special cup that is used to perform the libation tambiko ritual during the Karamu feast on the 6th day of Kwanzaa. During the Karamu feast, the kikombe cha umoja is passed to the family members and guests who drink from it to promote unity. Zawadi, gifts. When we celebrate Imani on the 7th day of Kwanzaa, we give meaningful zawadi, gifts, to encourage growth, self-determination, achievement, and success. We exchange the gifts with members of our immediate family, especially the children, to promote or reward accomplishments and commitments kept, as well as with our guests.
Well, we hope you enjoyed the story of Kwanzaa. We need to take a little break, but we'll be right back. Don't go away.
welcome back to the Elevate Talk Show. And in today's meal of the week, I'm going to be showing you how to make a quick, easy banana cake, which is a really great traditional Kwanzaa recipe.
Yes, banana cakes are wonderful, and I don't even like bananas. That's how wonderful they are. So stay tuned, turn your attention to Adriana's banana cake.
Okay, so we're going to start off with our dry ingredients today. So I'm going to start by adding, I've already added 3 cups of all-purpose flour to this bowl. And now I'm going to add in a teaspoon of baking soda and a teaspoon of baking powder. And I'm just going to mix all of that together. So now that we've mixed together our dry ingredients, let's move on to our wet ingredients. Mix the bananas and the sugars together. I'm just going to add in 3/4 of a cup of melted butter and 3 eggs. And now I'm just going to mix that in. Alright, so now that we've mixed the bananas and the sugars together, I'm just going to add in 3/4 of a cup of melted butter and 3 eggs. And now I'm just going to mix that in. Final wet ingredient, which is 1.5 cups of whole milk. And once we mix that in, we can start adding in our dry ingredients. So the wet ingredients have all been mixed together. So now it's time to incorporate our dry ingredients. So I'm just going to add them a little bit at a time. So I'm just going to take about 1/3 of our flour mixture and add that into the mixing bowl. Okay, so now I'm going to take another 1/3 and add that in. I'm just going to scrape some of the flour that got stuck to the sides. So let's mix that in. And now I'm going to put in our last bit of flour. So our cake batter is ready. So now I'm going to stick this in a 9 by 13 inch glass pan. So to keep the cake from sticking, I am just going to stick some butter in the pan, and I'm going to spread it around with this brush. So make sure you get all the sides and corners because you don't want it to stick anywhere. is nice and greased, I am going to just stick our cake batter in here. I'm just going to spread it around so that it's nice and even. You don't want a slanted cake. Alright, so I'm going to take our cake and I'm going to put it in a 350-degree oven for about 25 minutes, and then I'll be back to show you how it looks and to show you how to frost it. Alright, so our cake is ready and it looks absolutely delicious. So let me show you how to frost it. So I just took it out of the oven and we're just going to leave it here in the pan that it's baked in since it's cool. And I'm just going to take some cream cheese frosting and stick it on there. And I'm going to take an offset spatula and just spread it over the top of the cake. Just spread it around, make sure you get it in all the corners. Okay, I'm going to take a little more icing so that I can get some on the other side of the cake. Okay, so our cake is done frosting and it looks great. I'm going to give you a close-up shot so that you can see what it looks like. A nice, easy cake that's perfect for any Kwanzaa celebration.
Welcome back to the Elevate Talk Show. Our time together is just about up, but before we go, we want to let you know that the Elevate Talk Show uploads a new episode of our show each week, so be sure to go to our YouTube channel, the Elevate Talk Show YouTube channel, and check out a new show that we've put up for each week.
Yes, so thank you for watching the Elevate Talk Show, and if you haven't done so already, please like our video. That really helps the channel to grow, and subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss anything, and also share it with your family and friends so that all your family and friends know how great the Elevate Talk Show is.
Yes, yes, yes. We thank you for watching, and we don't want to end this episode without wishing you a happy holiday, a Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, and a Happy New Year from the Elevate Talk Show. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Bye.